And so yeah, I was quickly putting on my sweater on before this, but I just wrapped up Megamax, so I hadn't really done any time. Really time to set up, write some thoughts on that, and just clean up space up here. And I also lost the cap for my stream last night, and it should only be in its closet to my right, your left. So yeah, my screen is over there. The starting soon is blocking that. Actually, you can't see it. It's just a frame, but you can basically see like my socks. Yeah, it's just out of frame. Oh, there you are. It's clear. It's just, you can't really see that very well. So yeah, I just wrapped up Megamax. I also watched Turbo Ranger movie before that because I started watching Turbo Ranger this weekend because I was bored. Like the only thing I had was a single paper. I'm gonna start working on another thing, the final school article for Spanish, and placement exam stuff for tomorrow because I don't have class. And then the thing I'm working on is first I'm going to be discussing today. Basically spent the last month in my Quality TV class discussing. So, yeah. And also besides Revice, main thing here is to focus on Kamen Rider Revice, but Vulcan and Valkyrie dropped in the past month, so I have that. And then also I just watched Megamax. I put off Breaking Bad because at the time we were about to discuss Better Call Saul in my Quality TV class, and I watched Breaking Bad for my Epoch tutoring class, like the very first week of the semester. I need to analyze both pilots together. That's what I'm going to do. And then we talked about the big event is the Singing Detective. I even changed the thumbnail for that because I originally had Breaking Bad there, but I still kind of still kept the illusion in the branding. So for Queer Film is Happy Together is the assignment, Living End, Paris is Burning, High Art, Brokeback Mountain, and Hedwig and the Angry Inch. We had a midterm, which was we do Brokeback Mountain because it's so long, and so we just had a discussion and quiz for the class period. And then he told us if you would watch something on our own, but he's like, no, we're going to watch it together this week. So, yeah. So that's one reason why I had a lot of time to watch Turbo Ranger, as well as there's nothing next week. So tomorrow needs to be a Spanish day. And then I'll probably, maybe I'll watch Flux Part 2 tonight. Maybe I'll just watch that for dinner tomorrow. Maybe lunch. I do spare time for lunch. So yeah, this only episode's 1 even though we had 9 last week. It's just 9, 10 are kind of connected. So I say, I'll put it off until not next month, January, because Donna Theory dropped, it was beginning of October, I believe. But I haven't watched the Christmas special yet, so I'm not that kind of hype. And since it won't finish airing until December anyway, on Nick, it's gonna wait and do a full, so I'll go more of that at the end of exactly what I know so far is going to be on there. I can double check the list of queer film that I'll be watching over the next few weeks. At the end, I'll sit down and all that for that. So yeah. Revice, we've already kind of discussed it. The contract is like a recurring theme. Stamps are kind of like unique, but there are more like the X-ing in terms of like they're bulky or with the full bottles and the gachets. And I've only seen the pilot of X-ing and I haven't only seen anything build. So we talked about Fleabag last month in the queer women segment. Is that I feel Vice definitely does director Jessica better than Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character does. I also think her character is a lot more annoying in Fleabag than Vice. You know, we can talk how bad the actor is in reality we could, but I'm not going to waste time on it. Things like, you know, monster and stuff, and things like they can hear me, they sort of die in the pilot, but they're keeping around, and he's demon with the original second driver that we saw. And then, but it's only the third driver to debut because we got the Iki's brother, Daiji, as Kamen Rider Evil, has like a nice sort of like small, more compact weapon driver, which I think is kind of cool. And I have the black shirt, so I could easily do that's how I could easily do a Kagero cosplay. And then I had like, you know, the chain that I got after the ridiculous chain that broke. Well, that actually kind of broke. Well, clap on definitely made it go a bit better, and I do have my class ring, so high school. So I only do like a Kagero thing. Also, it took the mom 7 weeks in the hospital. In there's like watching it probably 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks probably in the span of the series. Just guessing. AK finally joins the group in episode 4, following his brother's demotion. And basically, since he decides to join them, and as Caroline has to spend full time at the bathhouse, Phoenix decides to fund the bathhouse, even though and then they kind of stalk them at the resort that they go to in episode 8 after the mom is healed and all that. It's kind of nice place. Kind of reminds me of older Sentai series, like a live man where they went up to the mountains and some of them had like the bugs attacking. There was our live man or Coco 5. I don't think I'm combining Sentai. I think that's live man. And I think we're all kind of thinking that like George is kind of a little suspicious as he kind of knows who's who in terms of Rider stuff from the get-go. I really thought it was like a good twist on the vacay episode 8. And then, episode 9 kind of flows straight into 10 the idea is that like purification. So I'm definitely gonna hold on that till the new year. And then I'll talk more about I think I'm gonna go in December next month after. So basically, Vulcan picks up where the Mitsubujin Already movie left off. It's been quite a few months since we had that film come out and discussed it. So basically, the warrior community are split up. A girl community joins up goes fully against the others at first, and then the other kind of learns his lesson from Fua and kind of sees a bit more of the light, but they're destroyed, but are rebuilt in the end to support and almost replace Snaki and Fu in a way because it seems like he dies. But at least Snaki was able to upgrade the grip that Fu uses for his upgrade forms. So again, each of them are warrior riders had their progress keys. I think there are progress or system rights keys. I'm not sure off the top of my head now. But the keys, and then each uses them. But there was a whole controversy about people kind of complain about Valkyrie basically kind of being easily defeated by Mitsubu Janari, but Fu was able to sacrifice himself to save his friend, And then again, like Arthur's probably, I feel like, in the end, is the only one that might come back. But then again, he is the titular writer of the show, so it kind of makes sense. And so I did just watch Megamax, and you have all of Forze's, all the Phase 2 writers in the film, plus the Legends, plus the first 7 writers. This kind of makes sense. Black and Black Rex are the same guy, so it's weird. But then again, once the 7 Legends are rescued by O's and Forze, they total the 7 slots, so it doesn't make sense to bring him in anyway. And basically, like, it's basically split into 5 parts. Where you have like the whole like Legends arc and O's arc. Like here's with the O's arc, like the Mountain Ranger of the TV show. The writer O's and the whole arc of the film is about him. And that's Imperious Commander Aqua and Evil Poseidon. Out of the Megamax writers, I've only seen Forze, and that's mainly story watchers for Nadeshka, because I heard that the actress' husband is on one of the Madrid soccer teams. I think he's sitting abroad Madrid, so who knows, I might bump into her in Spain. I don't know. But O's is kind of popular because there is a new movie coming out, so like a 10 years after movie for them, and then Double kind of on mine too with what we're getting up to next with the Singing Detective. But the final bad guy in the end like his design kind of looked like the horoscopes. But the head reminded me a bit of like almost like a crude version of like Sledge, but also the O's hangout spot kind of also gave me vibes of the Dynamite Cafe. So I don't know if they were looking at right or if that's just a coincidence, because like Kaiser's I think didn't start until during Wizard. No. Go Busters and Forze were together. Yeah, I think Go Kaiser and Go Busters. Yeah, that's right, Kaiser and Wizard. So a whole like year after. Okay, yeah, only like two-ish months after this was when 2 months after this was when Go Busters started. And then a year after that was Kyogre. And then 2 years after, the year after it finished, it premiered on Nick. Yeah, I think that's right. Kind of data I looked at, it's coincidence probably. The thing is, there's just randomly falls from the sky, and field that she's made from more like replicates what it sees, and she can survive that oxygen, and she is surprisingly able to develop further than expected, and also it sounds like this might be the first time that we only get Joker solo, or because Philip's just too busy reading. But we do get to see them together. And also I think, Nadeshka and Gensha's date, and that looks to be Tobuzu, which is it's kind of gotten run down over the years. They just removed their wooden coaster Regina. They're known for Kawasemi. Again, mostly a zoo, and that's kind of one of the problems that they also can't really take care of. And basically, I think I saw their Tivoli first. You can see they're out Tivoli in the first shot of the date scene, and you can barely see Kawasemi's yellow track, just barely. Okay. I'm probably gonna be going on the TL, talking a bit about that later. But before we can talk about what is mysterious thing as a singing detective, I kind of some thoughts that I just split together a month ago on Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. So, Bryan Cranston, who is Walter White, previously worked with Vince Gilligan on The X-Files back in the 90s. And basically, they thought he would be a good choice for a sympathetic asshole in that series. And that's basically what Walter White is. We're trying to be. And there's a whole character. Well, again, since there's about screenwriting class, we got to read the original pilot script. And there's a whole teacher absent. We do get like part of one of the scenes where he's like just in, the teacher's office reading something and then cuts something else. No scene with the other physics teacher. I think it did something that she is in some later episodes, but as well as obviously the big changes from California to New Mexico and some minor beats like so sometimes like a smaller birthday thing they do for Walter at like an Applebee's, and then they see a TV above the bar that they're talking about the recent drug bust. But instead you have the surprise party and he's like, and I was like, hey, turn on the TV, my thing's on, and we go through there. It's a bit more personal. I think, especially for like this time period, I think it's cool that that they had it have Walter's son have a learning the cerebral palsy. I was thinking of autism at an early age, so that's kind of I really like that. So then it's another scene from pretty much toward the end with Saul, because Saul enters in season 10, it's like final season. Things start going down. And it was a throwaway line really that Saul says before bidding Walter farewell, he says he might end up working at Cinnabon in Omaha, which Gilligan and Gold, who is the mind behind, Saul Goodman acted on it when creating Better Call Saul. And Saul was born Jim Gill and got money from faking accents in the winter, which leads into the pilot of Better Call Saul, which is when he meets some biker bros. He apologizes on site, getting hurting one of them, and he later works with them to relieve the incident downtown with someone else. Plan goes awry as the driver hits and runs, and it ends up they end up finding a Trevino family, and they look to be in big trouble. So I'm like, yeah, okay, what happens next? Because obviously, there seemed to be a huge gap between that and then we also kind of did see a live network in relation to Better Call Saul. Because Saul references the and yo will atone scene from the film. But I don't know if anything on the network. I do think I've seen it before, at least like parts of it, maybe not all, because I didn't remember the you will atone scene. But I do remember the I'm sick and tired stuff. I do remember that. But like other than that, it was kind of blurry, so it's good to get a bit of a refresher. Probably hasn't been on TV. Has probably been on like HBO or something like that in a while. But yeah, the main thing of the last month was on Dennis Potter. Specifically, his magnum opus, The Senior Detective. And the thing is that my professor is basically one of the people who hasn't written basically anything about it besides his, students, and then, a few other people, probably British. Because it only aired on like the middle of the night on US stations because Dennis Potter wanted us to air without commercials. It takes heavily from Potter as well as takes a lot of his passions, a lot of his other stuff, like we talked about stand-up Nigel Barton and Pennies from Heaven last week. So basically, the IRL world is that our lead and creator singing detective, Philip Marlowe, with an E at the end, is in a hospital to deal with psoriatic or some. I put down arthritis, but it's something very specific, which is a very bad skin condition. In the story world, it's basically Philip is turned into a screenplay, and the detective in that story is also called Philip, but his last name doesn't have the E on the end. So the character Charlotte is in when he's 10, and it mainly focuses on with his parents and how things take a dark turn when he finds out that his mom is hanging out with her husband's best friend named Raymond, who also portrays Mark Binney, the friend of Detective Marlowe, who gets Detective Marlowe to go on a case to basically get him out of trouble with a Russian spy, as well as find out who the two mysterious men are, and which we never find out. And character only these roles often mix in musical numbers. There's usually one every episode. There is one exception, I believe, where there's not one major musical number. Or there's sometimes where there are a bit more smaller ones, but I'm talking about one big musical number that you like to think about. And he has a very rural past. Dan Potter and Philip grew up in the Forest of Dean, which is a wood and the outskirts of London. It does seem to be quite a while of a train ride. Though at least during World War II, you can see why during World War II. There's sometimes where the train has to be flipped around. So the front locomotive is facing the cars and the coal is facing out. Usually it's the bomb, you hit the thing first, and the engineer side that usually we give some passengers civilians to escape. I guess that's the method that they were going for. Kind of explaining first that Benny was the singing detective, but no, Phil is Detective Marlowe is the detective in this. And after Boys in the Band and Desert Hearts, which are queer things that we've already discussed, last month. Did anything about remaking it, and that's where I went back. That's where it connects back into Double. Well, obviously, one of the leads in that show is also named Philip, but he gave that name to himself. And I believe that's I think he's the child of the villains. And I think that's about as much of the deep plot that I know of Double. But however, Robert Downey Jr. did make the film in 2003, about 10 years after Potter's death. And it's sort of a weird 50s aesthetic going on in the clip that we saw, but I think I like the Smells in the TV show better because she reminds me of a good friend of mine, Zoe Pratt. Also, this is the first time Mike Gabon and Mel Stone worked together, who are now fans of being Dumbledore 2 and Umbridge in the Harry Potter franchise. But obviously, the only time they were co-stars together in terms of both being alive is Orc Phoenix. Because I think they were at the time. Don't remember off the top of my head how much new footage of Dumbledore. There is, I think technically he does, but it's only flashbacks with Snape for Michael Gabon in the Deathly Hallows films. But yeah, they technically are co-stars in both. Technically all three, maybe, since Deathly Hallows book was one of the two. They're also co-stars on the 1995 TV movie of The Wind in the Willows and Paddington. Interesting. Fun idea of kind of like going with the same type of, kind of like going kind of the direction of Fargo is kind of trying to be its own thing, yet still somehow possessing some connection, you know? I don't know, but whole idea with the whole like psychosis going on, it kind of made me think about my own. So back when I was in middle school and high school, you know, when I was doing, Lego, more Lego centric. Maybe starting in other video games. Before that, you know, 5th grade to, basically, I would still say that it was kind of, it was like it was still kind of semi-active even when I was writing GSA for the first time. Because I first wrote the concept for my first idea for a Kyunder adaptation, which was more naval based after the Night on Constellation. So you like bring the mentors from that thing in as the purple as Sho and Tsurugi's counterparts. And then on those kids were in the youth cast, which brought in, the Donnellys. Before, Annie LeBlanc became a TV star. She was a YouTube thing first, along with her sister, and then her brother already died by the time dimensions thing. Yeah, that's basically how I found the Donnellys is through like our dimensions, and things started changing with them. A lot of stuff being changed. It was going to college, I didn't have that kind of time for random blog channels. And I knew it. I kind of felt from the beginning I wasn't going to stay a while. I was like, yeah. My year was definitely numbered with them. I'll say good, bad, not good, bad. It's all comes down to opinion. But the thing is with this thing, Dev, is that it's very hard to find. Like there was like a DVD set that came out in the early 2000s, and Microsoft has 2 copies because I think one is like a scratch on it somewhere. I think episode 2 or episode 3 when whenever the therapist, I think it's whenever the therapist debuts. But I'm running a paper on this, and it made me think back to my stories of the past and how kind of my thing is that I really kind of just flunked them in, kind of making thoughts of some aspects that maybe aren't true, or the whole origin of Lizzie as a villain just kind of came out of nowhere one day. Like, I can't even put anything down on, the IRL milestones of those people. Like, I sat down with Mark and Bryce one day, found they require one day. I crushed on Lizzie. Stopped that. I crushed on our friend Kelsey, who's my trollier sister. Started making Lizzie a villain. Fell in love with her sister. That lasted a while until she came out and gets kind of convoluted and throwing stuff at the wall. And this is 30% of my grade. And And I still haven't done a draft of 6 pages yet. I'm on page 4. And it's not in the full 4th page. One aspect I didn't bring in is that Marlowe's supposed wife is working with a guy named Mark Finney to steal his original screenplay. But I believe the whole Finney aspect is fear already coming in from everything going on, and that Finney does not exist, but his wife might exist. And if she wants it, it's possible. No, I would say it's probable. I would say, wife exists 80%, wants the script, 50% working with someone else, probably not at this point, and it's probably not Finney. Who's the same guy as Mark Finney and the dad's friend, Patrick Malhide. Now, so we have Jim Carter in here, who obviously one of the characters in the Lupin Ranger's Power Ranger is named after him. And Jim Carter is Philip's dad. It is an interesting twist from being a cop guy. But yeah, speaking of papers, the second paper 2 for Queer Film was on Happy Together, which is, I wrote Wong Kar-wai in my contemporary international cinema class last fall. There was finally time to sit down and watch something of his in full. So this story is set in Argentina, where our 2 lovers who are on again and off again beautiful. I think. I don't mention how I name it here. I think his boyfriend is Liu, and they get lost going to Iguazu. So they're stuck in Argentina. They break up, are stuck in Argentina. They can't go anywhere. Or like once they might go back home, they say other things. So one decides they need to pay their way back. So Ho decides to get a job, a real job, working at a tango bar, where the other one is polyamorous and takes guys out to said tango bar. And then one night, Liu gets in trouble, gets beaten, and Ho has to nurse him back to health. Things are going around with that. Yeah, it is Ho. Ho is a literal hoe, basically. And that's obviously not Wong Kar-wai intended, but Ho is a hoe. Other thing is, besides the whole thing of being in Argentina, I did not expect going in, is that there was a lot of black and white sequences, which is predominantly between when they break up and the Ho is injured. So you're gonna see some of the tango bar in color, but it's a bit cooler in black and white. That's just me. I'm also getting a bit of Spanish, to get more used to that. You're focusing more on the Spanish stuff tomorrow, along with this paper that is kind of, I've been chipping away at all week, but it still feels like I'm throwing shit at the wall. Unfortunately. But they do end up, Lee sells Ho's passport as they're nursing back to health. Ends up leaving the tango bar and works at a Chinese restaurant with a new guy. They seem like friends, but maybe the friend might actually be gay but doesn't know it. But yeah, since they're on and off again, we go straight into their relationship, but I think going heavy straight in kind of represents that they've been together for a long time, which I kind of disagree with Brokeback Mountain, is that I didn't really feel there was enough of a chance for them to grow into having a romantic relationship within the first 15 minutes of the film. And I think the idea that people are saying is that it's not just about being a gay story, is the concept of forbidden love, like Romeo and Juliet. Most of probably the idea is that, like, this film since the 60s, that things have improved, probably. Even though you could easily say that things are not much better than they were in 64. I'm sure anything you can say that. The interesting thing is that you could end it 20 minutes earlier before Jack Twist's death. Whether, just looking out at Brokeback Mountain and then they part. Seems kind of like I think it's kind of one of the Furious films, and where the two partners go their separate ways forever. I think it's because, in that case, because one of the actors died. And then he used his twin brother as proxy. It was on like a side note without, knowing that like Jack dies. Possibly it's beating like and it's saw the two old one of the two old guys on the nearby farm that I was on growing up. And I was thinking of like mirroring the their departure after the summer of '64 on Brokeback. But I do think Alma Jr. getting married as the ending kind of shows some hope for Ennis, or at least showing that he, he divorced his wife, he is still, there's still someone in his life that loves him, even if they don't know the whole truth. Something interesting as I noticed is that Jack looks half of Ennis's age when they meet, but they become more equal. Even as time goes on, I don't know if that's like because Jake Gyllenhaal's actually a lot younger, or supposed to be younger. I don't know. Something interesting as I noticed that the wife changes her hair a lot. Like Anne Hathaway dyes her hair. It was like a few years before this. She was in Princess Diaries, and then she's fucking Jake Gyllenhaal in Brokeback Mountain. Like, come on, that's crazy. Like, just the time span. Something they were discussing in class after watching is that Ennis is static. Ennis can't change because he's fearful. Where like Jack Twist, he knows the consequences, but he either knows the consequences but doesn't care, or doesn't even know that they're, or just doesn't care. YOLO. It's my life. I do what I want. And there is only, but also it does seem to still show like a pathological aspect to it. Oh, kind of like be like brokenness, Yeah, going back to filming in this, compared to this Hedwig and Ingrange is that's like this is a dark tale, like a dark take on the road trip film. And kind of one of the female lead to chase after them at times. And it was that it's like take inspiration from the leather culture, and this is the first time in film chronologically that AIDS comes up. We talked about Philadelphia last night, which was the first time that Hollywood discussed it, but I just felt like in terms of like the leather musical song, I just felt I kind of preferred, living in. Hedwig took a bit of time to, get into, but we did get a cameo from the star and, director, producer. Okay, yeah. Brokeback Mountain 2005, Hedwig Near 2001, I think, in the late 80s. Yeah, okay. Written by John Cameron Mitchell. Yeah, the project got a cameo from him, talked about it, give an introduction, recommend short bus, so but how you get a trailer of it, which is more like documentary style, which is kind of like the last thing on the list, which is Paris is Burning. It kind of builds up Hedwig's story over time. First, through like a dialogue segment and then a musical number, and basically learns about her connection to as Tominosis. I feel like when I know this is why they're at odds, and they do seem to get back on track. So in the end, but like the ending kind of reminds me of the mess up stuff in Senior Detective, like the white Bridgewater's like they're traveling through Bridgewater's near where Tominosis is playing. It's kind of like a Red Lobster type joint, like the white stuff scenery there kind of made me feel like, yeah, this is not real, like. And that end of the film is probably almost over. It's like a weird thing where he looks at he's like basically like Rep's part revealing that he's a guy and not a girl, and then sees Tominosis at the bottom because there was a bit before like a climax where Hedwig and Tommy are in a car and they crash and it ruins Tommy's career, and I think that part might be real. And then, but the thing in the white space that definitely did not happen. That's just like or maybe like so it's like part of like a bad dream. Probably not that, but it's possibly like maybe her overacting did not happen, and stuff in the white pretending that it's flip flopped. I don't think so. It's like maybe she like fainted, and that's why. I think that's kind of why he's naked at the end, just walking out into New York, and as if like that's like fine. But yeah, kind of stuck on the same detective. But it's still very cool show. Like that ending was kind of messed up and kind of gave me feeling something. Honestly, even though I really like it was just a lot to unpack. I think that's just the editing thing. So there's just too much to unpack. Speaking of unpacking stuff, I believe I mentioned already, if you weren't at the top of the show, is that I started watching Turbo Ranger. I watched the movie before Megamax. Today, some 20 episodes plus the movie in, and I watched the anniversary special some time ago. I think it was before last stream, but I didn't find enough information or anything worth it. Other than saying, yeah, I watched it, and that's kind of about it. But yeah, that Stranger by the Lake, Dino Theory. Again, I still need to watch the Christmas show because I'm not one of those kind of people. But I am going to double check the list of stuff besides that. No. Good. Yeah, I'm not really sure about TV in terms of what we're watching. Next, I remember off the top of my head. But I don't know like anything deep like this. So it's House of Plague, Carol, and Weekend and Moonlight are the final 4 films, and that's gonna be kind of tight because by the time I get to that, it'll be next stream, getting to Moonlight. So yeah, so House of Plague, Carol, Weekend, Moonlight are the 4 remaining queer films, and I think there's probably 4 or 5 more major things for Quality TV. I'll figure that out as time goes on. All of Dino Fury and Turbo Ranger. Not about Turbo Ranger. Turbo Ranger is not going to be next year. That's going to be January. So December is Dino Fury, and then Queer and Quality again, and then January would be Superhero Time Catch Up and Turbo Ranger. So it feels a bit longer, you know. It's about 5 minutes long with the opening bit, which I might go back and cut off at a later stage, so it doesn't matter, but you know. That's about all I have to say for today. So, thank you for watching this. Are you going to watch Sing Detective? Do I need to watch? Probably I'm going to put Double higher on the list than Deno next, but not sure where I'm going to place O's on that list. I know there is like a new film coming out, but you know, it takes months for it to be get out of here. So yeah, thank you for watching. Comment, like, subscribe, and try to click the bell. See ya next month.